Hello, Crypto Growth fam. We've got this new update right now. 210 Democrats and 13 Republicans voted against advancing the Crypto Genius Act, Clarify Act, and Anti CBDC Act. Look at this. On agreeing to the resolution, look at this. Different opinions, yay, nay, and everything. So a debate has emerged over here. This is Republican Anna Paulina Luna. I support crypto, but cannot get behind anything that allows for a backdoor to CBDC. There was a vote to allow legislation to come to the floor that would enable that to happen. Thus, I voted no. Happy to support any pro crypto bill, but I will not back CBDCs. So, this debate has emerged 1.1 million views over here and different opinions. Look at this. Jungling says STFU and pass the bill. Tobias Spurin has come up with logic. This is what I always say when people talk about CBDCs, that yeah, it is centralized, it will control everything. The thing is, the authorities are already in control. What is the big threat of CBDCs? Authorities can already freeze funds via central bank systems. Obviously, the system is in their hands and they are already owning it. It's a CBDC puts it on chain. On the contrary, you know where the funds are going. There will be transparency. At least you know what is happening, increasing transparency and accountability. I know why crypto OG anarchists are anti-establishment, but a US senator noob intern running X maybe. So obviously there are crypto OGs that are saying that CBDC goes against the ethos of decentralization and empowerment, financial freedom, but they are anti-establishment in one way, shape or form. But I agree that a senator, obviously, I think they should be more is pro-establishment and a pro-CBDC policy, I think, empowers the establishment. So, anyways, look at this. MJ Truth Ultra, President Trump promised he'd never allow a central bank digital currency, and I believe him. However, the concern MTG has is legit. President Trump did sign an executive order on January 23rd titled Strengthening American Leadership in Digital Financial Technology, which bans the creation and issuance of central bank digital currencies in the United States. However, it can be reversed by a future president or challenged in court. That is why MTG wants it codified into law in the Genius Act. So there are different opinions about CBDCs and what is happening at the moment. Look at this. Yeah. Then we're going to be checking out how XRP, XLM, Qnt, Hbar, what are they up to and why are they super important for finance?
Let me inform you about a vote that I'm very concerned about. The Genius Act that the Senate passed, President Trump is demanding we pass it in the House. The Genius Act has a backdoor capability into a central bank digital currency. And they're having a second vote on the ban on central bank digital currency. That should be included in the Genius Act. That should be a part of the Genius Act. It should not be separate. And my concern, Steve, is the Genius Act will pass, and this opens the door for a central bank digital currency. So there's things happening extremely fast, and these are things that regular Americans just are largely against. We don't want a central bank digital currency. We don't want a future government or administration that can turn our bank account on and off and take our tax money without our agreement. Just take it straight out of our bank account. And this is we want to support a future with digital currency, stablecoin, crypto. I know there's a lot of people that want that stuff, but this has to be done the right way. And I'm very concerned about this bill and the fact that we're lacking a ban.
Folks, regardless if you believe in CBDCs or not, the projects that we cover, they want to change the game of finance and provide use cases in various domains, be it payments, CBDCs, and others, and become transparent in the process. Look at this. And the partnerships, obviously. Yesterday, we saw the news of Hbar being used by Lloyds and ABRDN for UK digital bonds and MMFs. Seems like QNT CEO Gilbert Verdian took notice. No surprise given the chokehold Overledger has had on the UK the past few years. Additionally, we also know Lloyds Bank were on one of the handful of UK banks selected for the UKRLN. So, when we think about what Hedera is being used for here with regards to UK digital bonds and tokenized funds, in theory, this fits perfectly with the UKRLN. Look at this, folks. A landmark collaboration, UK first use of digital assets, Aberdeen, Archex, Lloyds. Awesome. Yeah, look at this. Every year, over pound 11 trillion worth of payments are processed in the UK, powering the economy. The success of the RLN experiment shows the potential of technology to transform the customer experience. So, 11 trillion pounds, I mean, that is a hell lot of money. Loads of money, folks. Standard Chartered, Visa, MasterCard, Lloyds, Santander, Citi, HSBC, Barclays, you name it, folks. It is huge. Can anybody make this make sense? Basically, HBAR gets institutional validation from Nvidia, Grayscale, Lloyds Bank, and even a national CBDC pilot. By the way, the CBDC debate, obviously, a lot of people are against it, but as I mentioned, central bank digital currencies will bring everything that is happening on chain. Whatever the banks are doing, it will be a bit more transparent. So there are two sides of a coin. Stellar just went full fintech mode. On off ramps are now live on Slash app, a US business banking platform. Look at this constant progress being made. Pay contractors in USDC, accept USDC from customers, convert USDC instantly with no exchange needed. Constant developments. Look at this HBAR in Australia lately, Novati AUDC test with MAS, AUDD launches on Hedera, Project Acacia by Bank, OS Payments Plus tests Hashfare. By the way, there was a really interesting XRP post as well. Let me see where that is. Yeah, this was it. Ripple announces partnership with Control Alt Delete. Okay, so pun intended, Control Alt to expand global custody footprint into Middle East, supporting Dubai's real estate tokenization project. Imagine, Dubai is a real estate hub, folks. So many real estate, even if one sector, be it in Bar Dubai or other region, of the city, if it happens, it can be huge, folks. This one is huge. A tokenization project for tokenized property title deeds on XRP Ledger. I mean, this one is huge in my opinion. This is how mass adoption starts. Real estate deeds on chain is cool, bullish. Tokenized real estate on the XRP Ledger is no longer just a concept, it is happening in Dubai. Bruh, finally someone trusting us with fancy Dubai real estate. Let's get this token party started. Folks, Middle East, as you all know, it is becoming a hub for digital assets, and XRP can benefit a lot from this. Stellar soared 72% in 3 weeks, powered by PayPal's PayUSD integration. Stellar just had its biggest month ever, although the price is correcting all across the market. But there is huge potential when it comes to XRP, folks. XRP and XLM. In partnership with Control Alt and Dubai Land Department, Ripple Custody will deliver scalable and secure storage for the Dubai Land Department's tokenized real estate title deeds, which have been issued on the XRP ledger. So what will it do, folks? What will it do? It will enable fractional ownership first and foremost. It will bring transparency to the real estate sector, and it will provide global access to Dubai's real estate market. This is what we're talking about. An impressive step forward indeed. This one is huge. Okay. Look at this quant over here. Managing tax obligations is a critical part of financial operations, but one that consumes time and creates risk. Between changing regulations, complex reporting, and fluctuating revenues, even well-run businesses can find struggle to stay ahead. In the UK, companies spend on average 15 days a year on tax compliance time that could be better used on growth. So, what solution does Quant provide? This is what you're asking in a nutshell. With programmable payments, tax can become an automated, frictionless, and secure pillar of your finance stack. So this is what we're talking about. Okay. New INATB standardization co-chairs are here. Christina Aristidou, ISO TC 307 head of national delegation. These are the QNT ties that are obviously clear. EU Legal Tech Association Ambassador, Blockchain Climate Institute Director. Then we've got Ismail Arribas, UNE Spain, ISO TC 307 Delegate, ITU Vice Chair for Metaverse and DLT. So this is what we're talking about, the connections, the partnerships, the standards. So let's see how these projects are super important, folks. Did the Federal Reserve just make XRP and Xlm super important, folks? This is a long video, 9 minutes long. We're going to be looking at bits of it. So if you want to watch the entire thing, check out Alexander Lorenzo. Let's check this out.
ISO 2022, Federal Reserve just adopted it yesterday, July 14, 2025. What does this mean for XRP? What does this mean for XLM? What does it mean for all the coins? I believe there's 8 coins that have the ISO 20022 standard, because we have the world's biggest bank, the Federal Reserve, adopting this standard literally yesterday. This is insane. And so what I want to do in this video is break down all of the facts behind the situation. I want to cut through the noise, get very specific on exactly what's going on from an unbiased perspective, because I usually see 2 extremes. Number 1, people really, really hate these type of coins, or number 2, they worship these coins. So we're going to try to go through the middle, cut through the noise, get to the facts. Thank you guys for watching. In this video, we're going to talk about all of that, and we're going to go into great detail. I also want to give a timeline and realistic expectation of when this global adoption is actually going to happen by percentages. We're going to get some predictions, as well as look at exactly how much money can be going into XRP via transaction volume. And if you're new here, my name is Alex. I've been doing crypto for a long time, 8 years, full-time crypto for 6 years. And I made this channel as a way to connect with other investors and really just to build a crypto movement. So thank you for watching. And I just want to just go through this because there's a lot of people talking about it. There's a lot of noise, and I've had even people come at me with stuff, and I want to get to the truth of what I actually believe. And so this is what I actually believe, and it's based off facts and evidence and the truth. So basically, FedWire was created by the Federal Reserve, and it becomes mandatory on July 14, 2025, with Swift messaging fully transitioning by November 22nd, 2025. So the US Federal Reserve officially moves FedWire payments onto ISO 20022 standard on July 14th. This is really, really big. Now, I want people to understand, this does not mean the Federal Reserve is adopting a blockchain coin. Does not mean that XRP is now officially in the Federal Reserve. This does not mean any of that. This means they're adopting the same standard when it comes to messaging. So it's very simple. Right now, the way that the current system works is that if one bank wants to send, let's say, $10 million to another bank in another, country or whatever, they don't really send money. They send a message. They send a message, and then the central bank and all these banks handle the actual process of it. So for example, this bank will send 10 million, they'll send the message will be, received at the other bank or whatever the case is. And then a couple banks will come together and make the actual money happen. They will just give them the money or whatever the case is for a fee. So right now, our current system was built in the 1970s. It's extremely slow and very expensive. So obviously when blockchains come into play with this, it's an upgrade. It's a massive upgrade. Do I believe in the future XRP and XLM will get adoption? Yes. Do I believe it's right now? No. and I'll explain everything. You'll understand exactly what I'm saying. So on November 22nd, 2025, basically, it will be the global standard for cross-border messaging. Now, when it comes to different jurisdictions and countries, they get to choose if they're going to force their banks to do it. It's not exactly like they have to all do it, but in America, that's pretty much what it is. By November 22nd, 2025, it is a standard that all banks are going to have to adopt, which is, again, simply a messaging standard. So before we had an old way of messaging, this is a new enriched data way of messaging. There's a lot more data involved. There's a lot more that they can use that will benefit. It's a massive upgrade to the messaging system. I want to be very clear with everybody because there's a lot, but it is a lot of money too. So for example, now, yes, there is an option for banks to use XRP and XLM because they're on this messaging standard as well. But it does not mean they have to use it. In fact, if we look at other standards that have been upgraded, and we're going to talk about that in this video, other standards in the same exact process, it usually takes 20 to 40 years. I'm going to explain what I'm saying, but it's going to get really realistic because, again, like this doesn't mean that this stuff is not real. It just means that you got to be realistic with the timelines and don't like get wrecked and invest your money too early thinking that tomorrow XRP is going to go to $100. That is not realistic at all. So let's talk about adoption. I believe even modest adoption for XRP and XLM, if you say the Federal Reserve of these banks actually use the coin, not just the messaging protocol, they actually use the coin because, by the way, they can use the messaging protocol. They do not have to use the coin. And chances are they're not going to use the coin for a long time. And if they do use the coin, they're going to slowly integrate it. They're not going to integrate it fully. So Swift alone processes 5 to 6 trillion daily. We're talking about 1.25 quadrillion annually. These are big numbers. So this is even with 10% adoption. So we're talking about 150 trillion per year for cross-border payments alone. Just a 10% minimum adoption is 15 trillion annually moving through XRP, XLM, and there's 8 coins. There's other 8 coins. I just wanted to talk about XRP and XLM because I think they're the most significant for sure. Another thing to take into consideration for ISO 20022, XRP is on the board. So they're a part of it. They're a member. They're actually shaping this process, this messaging process. So like, I believe the one that's obviously most likely to realistically be used is XRP for sure. Now, another thing that XRP just recently did is actually apply for a banking license. A little bit older news. This happened on July 2nd, but this is also very significant because if they do get this banking license, it's going to make it much easier for banks to want to adopt them. So it's expected late 2025 or early 2026.
Look at this. Realistically, this is not based on theory. XRP XLM adoption by global financial institutions will unfold over 15 to 25 plus years. EVM chip card adoption took almost 30 years. ACH payments took roughly 40 years. Even ISO 20022 itself required over 20 years. So folks, obviously, adoption takes time. That is for sure. And if we talk about why is bank adoption slow if XRP, XLM are superior technologies, banks currently generate around $200 billion annually from cross-border transaction fees alone. So obviously, XRP, XLM, they will take time. And look at this. Existing cross-border payments generate over $200 billion annually. Banks can charge up to 7% per international transaction. Adopting XRP XLM immediately threatens stable revenue stream, forcing banks to adopt gradually. So, what does gradual adoption really mean for XRP and XLM investors? Even small initial adoption rates, 5 to 10% by the year 2030s, could lead to blockchain transactions valued at trillions of dollars annually, folks. We're talking about 5 to 10%, merely 5 to 10%, folks. That is huge. Potentially, it can reach to 25 to 50 trillion dollars per year. I mean, that is huge. So, how to position strategically right now? Investors should adopt a realistic, historical, grounded expectations, 10 to 20 years, and emphasize disciplined accumulation, education, and patience. So these are long-term timeframes, folks, and adoption takes time. I really am in favor of posts like these, folks. This helps keep people grounded in reality. Let me repost this as well. Let me like this. Really interesting one, folks. So we should be keeping our focus on long-term growth instead of short-term pumps and everything. So what do you guys think about XRP, XLM, and Qnt Hbar? Do you think that they are indeed super important for the new financial system. I would really like your opinions. Do hit the comment box below and let the community know. Anyways, guys, this was it for the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification icon if you're interested in utility coins and potential gems. And you can also support the channel by checking out Patreon by following the link in the description box below. Until next time, stay blessed and stay tuned. Thank you very much, everyone.